Hi, this is Jerry. I've got a question for you. Have you ever been so absolutely certain you were right, only to discover later on that you were heading in the wrong direction? Welcome to Proverbs 14:12. One of the greatest dangers in life, obviously, isn't running into evil, but finding a path that appears reasonable and seems harmless while it's leading you to destruction. What this verse really means, it starts off this way: there's a way that seems right unto man. Now, this refers to human reasoning apart from God. Now, a person might sincerely believe, they might say things, I know what's best. This feels right to me. Or they might even say, everyone else is doing it, kind of popular today. Or they might even say, it can't be wrong if it seems good. The problem isn't that sincerity doesn't guarantee truth. So many people believe that they're right, but they're so wrong. The end of this verse says, but the end is the way of death. Now, we have to be careful with this word of death. It really means spiritual separation from God or moral ruin. It could be broken relationships or a loss of peace or eternal consequences. In other words, a path can look attractive in the beginning, yet the end is very destructive. Now, here's the central truth to this. What seems right to us is not always what is right in the eyes of God. Human wisdom, our wisdom, is limited, but God sees the end from the beginning. Now, if God can see the end of your venture and my venture, what we're planning on doing, it would only seem wise to consult him before we even take the very first step. Wouldn't you agree? Now, there's other scriptures that go along with this, lines up with it. One of them is found in Proverbs 3:5. We haven't gotten there yet. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Let me tell you, I have never heard of a person who trusted in the Lord was disappointed. People who followed this verse. There's another one in Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things. And if you want to stay just to the New Testament only, Jesus said in the Gospel of John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Between you and me, there's no other person to put your trust in. Now, this proverb warns against trusting feelings and trusting your assumptions and popular opinion above God's word. The decision may feel right in the moment, but it contradicts God's truth and it leads you away from life. Let me give you some practical applications. Before you make any important decisions, ask yourself this. Does it align with God's word? Have you prayed for wisdom? Am I relying on my feelings rather than truth? What are the long-term consequences if this doesn't work out? Let me give you something to look forward to when you're making a decision. Get some biblical guidance. In other words, pray. Ask God. If you're not comfortable with praying, just ask him anyway. In the words that you want to ask, just let it out. He's always listening to you. Seek wise counsel from people that are in the know. And be humble. Don't be boastful and don't be prideful. Now, there's benefits for following this Proverbs. If you follow God's direction rather than your own assumptions, you really gain. You really do. You gain protection from costly mistakes. You gain spiritual discernment. You have a peace of mind, and you're making wise decisions. And you're on a path that leads to life. Now, if you don't adhere to this, there are pitfalls. You start trusting in your own feelings. You follow the crowd, and they don't always know where they're going. You ignore God's word, and you're confusing sincerity with truth, assuming good intentions are a guarantee for good outcomes. Let me give you a word of wisdom. Not every road that feels comfortable leads to safety. The most dangerous path is often the one that appears correct while quietly leading you away from God. Now, this verse is going to be on the screen. Read it out loud if you can. Have a great day.